I'd like to call to order the Common Council meeting for April 1st, 2013. Invocation.
Gracious God, we thank you for this day you continue to bless us with. We thank you, have you continue to watch over our city, watch over our leaders. We ask you to continue to bless this council. We invoke your presence to be with us. We thank you for bringing us through dangers seen and unseen. We ask you to continue to bless us and continue to help us to understand that how our best days are yet to come. Continue to watch over this community. Continue to help us to make good decisions for our community. And continue, Lord, to give us the courage to make those decisions. We also ask you to continue to bless all of our staff members that do all the hard work, our first responders. Bless them and keep them protected. Continue to watch over our city as we grow. We continue to see all the great things that are happening in our city, but help us to be responsible enough to handle all the amazing and wonderful things that come, all the new people that are coming to our community. We want to continue to make sure that we are continuing to be good stewards of what you have given us to be responsible for. This prayer we ask in the name of Lord and Savior Jesus the Christ. Amen.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Roll call. Roll call. Councilperson Smith.
Present.
Councilperson Zastavny.
Present.
Councilperson Gill. Present. Councilperson President Sellers. Present. Council Vice President Julius.
Present.
Councilperson Samuel.
Here.
Let the record show that Councilperson Payne, Councilperson Glover, and Councilperson Owen are absent.
I know that's what's going on. I want to speak.
Mr. Lewis, did you work on that resolution we talked about earlier today? The one with the things that we agreed to work on. What was? Well, I thought we could because we weren't going to have the votes to pass it on all meetings. Okay. Do you want to add it, Nathan?
Tight ship.
We're doing these.
Yeah. Approval of agenda.
I'd like to make a motion to add one item. I guess it could be under new business. Number 4 would be fine. And it would, I guess it would be just dealing with the redevelopment master plan projects.
Do we need a second?
I'll second. Unless there's other changes.
I have a second. I have a motion and a second to add resolution dealing with redevelopment master plan. All in favor of adding it to the agenda, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion passes. Are there any other changes?
What about the other thing we talked about earlier?
No.
And we're not doing that?
We can do it during...
Okay, that's right. As long as you got a plan.
Okay.
Okay.
I need a motion to approve the agenda.
I'll make a motion.
Have a motion and a second to approve the agenda with the added item. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. Minutes to be approved.
In your packets, the March 18th regular council meeting minutes, and then behind that will be your first workshop on March 20th.
Make a motion to approve the March 18th minutes.
Second.
Have a motion and a second to approve the March 18th minute. Any other questions or comments? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries.
Make a motion to approve the March 20th minutes.
Second.
Have a motion and a second to approve the March 20th meetings from the workshop. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. Claims.
Coming at you, Chief.
Okay, I got these all messed up last time. So
Requesting approval of city council claims in the amount of $466,064.58.
I had one thing. I stopped and talked to Amy today, and actually it's page 9 under Lowett, they've got it marked. It says public safety, but it should be Lowett on I think it's the last page.
Oh, gotcha.
There were 3 things for police vehicles, and they've got a non-reverting fund that they can take that out of, and the non-reverting fund has roughly $80,000 in it. So,
All 3 items
yeah,
out?
yeah. Just take that out of the non-reverting fund.
I had actually talked to Ann about that, and those 3 items are to do with new vehicles, and it's budgeted in Lloyd to cover those.
Oh, is it?
So,
Okay.
Sorry, that's new vehicles, equipment, so that's budgeted in that
Okay.
money.
I withdraw.
I had a question. Under fire, there's for a 2012 Chevy remote start. Is anybody here from fire? I was just wondering what we were,
What page is that on?
be the second page. Under fire, remote start, $175.
Is remote starts in their budget? I've never seen anything about remote starts.
Well, that's what I'm saying. I mean, I don't know, we've never had it before that I'm aware of.
I don't know what that's for.
Anybody from fire here?
No.
Well, can we pull that out until we get clarification?
yeah.
Is that on, you say, page 2?
It's on page 2 under fire, Mike.
It says 2012 Chevy remote start.
Yeah.
What is that? Is that a remote starter for a
You can
vehicle?
start from the inside of your house. You multiply that.
You know, if they've got a
by 400
legitimate reason that
cars.
they need it started at a fire or something.
Yeah.
But I'm just saying, you know, we approved the new vehicles. But
I have a couple questions as well. On page 4, I think this goes under the council, I believe. Make sure I'm right. Yes.
Okay.
There's a number of medical services, and I'm just not used to seeing those
Yeah.
on here. Is this the right fund to take
It
it from?
is.
Okay.
Actually, what those are PHP claims when the contract ended December 31, and these were exceptions that we decided to cover. And we had to actually write the check, so
Okay.
it is unusual.
Okay. Thank you.
Any other questions or comments? Do you have a motion to approve?
I'll make that motion.
I'll second.
I have a motion and a second to approve the city council claims minus the 175 from the fire.
Okay. The new total is $465,889.58.
Thank you, because I couldn't do that in my head. In the amount of $465,889.58. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, motion carries.
Also got some parks claims in the amount of $20,714.36.
Move to approve.
Second.
I have a motion and a second to approve the park claims in the amount of $20,714.36. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed?
I have a comment, not about that, but Amy, I noticed for some of the credit cards, we received the receipts, but then some of them that were, I identified them with the John Deere Financial.
Okay.
I believe that's a credit card as well. Because there's, could you check on that? Because there's multiple in here under multiple departments that have
Yes,
John Deere Financial.
I'll check on that.
Just make sure they turn those in as well, please.
Sure.
Did we vote on that?
I have one other item, if I may.
Got a hand carry?
No, I've got outstanding warrants just to get in the minutes. Can I do that now?
Got outstanding.
Yes.
warrant.
Okay. Any checks that are outstanding over 2 years should be declared void, and I talked to the State Board of Accounts, and I just need to get these in the minutes. I've got 15 checks from Civil City Fund totaling $5604.14. We're going to be receipting back in to the system. That's all I had.
Do you need
Do we
any
need
action on
do we
that?
need an action on this, or?
So I
I
make a
don't believe we
motion.
need an approval or anything. I
so
just need to
so
get
it's
them in the
minutes?
minutes.
I think it'd be nice to have a motion, for State Board of Accounts purposes, to be very clear.
I make a motion to accept in the cancellation of warrants the sum of $5,604.14.
Second.
I have a motion and a second to accept the cancellation of warrants in the amount of $5,604.14. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. Okay. Welcome. Report of the clerk. Do you want to report on the system?
Oh, we got a adapter
Oh, okay.
and tested it out. I've listened to the workshop meeting last week, crystal clear. So we should
Great.
be good to go, all problems should be fixed.
Okay, good.
Thank you, Erica.
Okay. Department head reports. Mr. Merkley said that he would like to wait and speak
Yeah, next meeting.
at the next meeting, so that's done. So agenda items, Amy Daring.
This is ordinance 3, which was passed on the first reading. I have advertised it and sent to DLGF for approval. It's for additional appropriations in the amount of $245,501.13.
And it's already been passed on the first reading.
Yes.
You want it passed on second and third, or just second?
Yes. Second and third if...
I'll make a motion to pass ordinance 2013 OR3 on the second and third reading.
Second.
Have a motion to pass ordinance 2013 OR3, an ordinance of additional appropriation. All in favor signify by
Quick
saying...
question.
Quick question.
Yeah, but as I look at, do we have the money in place to cover these additional appropriations?
Yes.
We do, okay. That's all, thanks.
Okay. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries.
No. Carried 5-1.
Okay. 5-1.
Yeah, passed.
Yep. Okay. And then Ms. Deering, an ordinance of additional appropriation by reduction.
Okay. This one was tabled at the last meeting. Basically what this is reducing the parks, which was a cut in our 1782 notice, by $245,500. And the rest of the items were to combine all non-reverting funds for parks and police into a fund of their own. So you can see at the total, it nets out to the $245,500. And I know last time there were some questions as to how the reporting would look, and I've included those in here as far as the different departments under parks, where you can see the trolley and the volleyball, softball. So we are able to easily report out by department the revenues and expenditures. Yeah, it's in your packet.
Yeah, I just saw
Revenue detail history.
this one here. This one. That was the details report that we issued.
Do I have a motion?
You said we will be able to see the different funds, right?
Correct.
I think that was Brian's main concern, wasn't it? He's not here, so that's why he wanted it tabled, because he wanted a breakdown.
She did give a breakdown, it is in your packet.
Yeah, it's right here. I think it's this.
Put on the first.
Is it this?
Yes.
It's this thing.
That's the revenue by department, and then the
Right.
following pages show the expenditures by department.
I make a motion to approve ordinance 2013 OR4.
Second.
First reading.
Yep.
I have a motion and a second to pass 2013 OR4 on the first reading. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed?
Aye.
Okay. Motion carries 5-1. 5-1. Okay, and then Ms. Gearing, salary ordinance.
This is a salary ordinance. This was passed on the first reading. The changes are highlighted in yellow, and this was to move some of the employees from the court to the clerk, and also the addition of the new employee in drainage. I'd like to see if we could go ahead and pass it on second and third reading.
I'll pass it with some changes, or I'll make a motion to pass on second and third with, under Department of Law, dropping the city attorney 75%, adding paralegal at the rate of, pay grade of 6, and under redevelopment, dropping city attorney 25%.
What was the pay grade for paralegal? I'm sorry.
6. I think that fits.
I think that's where they had it, wasn't it?
I didn't look at the new one.
Is that paralegal, Nathan, is that 75% though, the number, percentage by the general? Is it 75-25 like the other?
Yeah, I'm trying to figure out.
And that's how it was?
I mean, I can't.
Okay, I just want to make sure.
Redevelopment would have to agree to that, I would
That's
assume.
fine.
But, sure,
I would just like to add that 75%. and
I'll
then
yield to that.
See what redevelopment says.
Hold on just a minute. Paralegal on the new was 5, and you're saying 6.
But we haven't passed.
I know that, I'm
Yeah.
comparing just
Yeah.
to see where we are. There's pretty big difference there. See here? 33 to 39, 39 to 49.
I was thinking that was about, they were talking about 40.
Mid-range.
Much thought.
That's what they were talking.
That's why, I base it on what I was told, so.
I just want to compare the two, I think we need to.
Okay. We can
So
go
is
back
it
and
a
change
5 or
that.
6?
6 on the current.
On
Yeah,
the
it's
current.
6 on the current.
Call the question.
Okay, so what was it again? Because you want to do what under Department of Law?
Drop city attorney 75%, add paralegal 25%, 6 pay grade. Under redevelopment, drop city attorney 25%, add paralegal 25%.
Okay, the paralegal will be 75, you said 25% twice, Nathan. It's 75% under Department of Law and 25% over redevelopment. You said 25.
Okay.
I would second that.
Okay, I have a motion and a second to pass the salary ordinance with the changes being made in the Department of Law to add a paralegal to our current level, which is 6, and taking out the city attorney at 75%, and under redevelopment, taking out the city attorney at 25%. Are there any questions or comments?
I'm looking for redevelopment.
Okay. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries.
Yes. Did you mark?
Let me give you a chance to get those down. Okay, under new business,
No, I was making sure they're right. Pay grade.
Ms. Rutherford and Ms. Woods. I feel really bad about this.
Melissa stepped out for a minute, but we have a couple people here that want to comment on the project, if you all don't mind, if that's okay. We have He's here from Bales, and he wants to speak in support of the project.
I don't know if she was...
They fill out on the public comment.
No.
We need them, if you want to take it up there, they need to add it to the public
Yeah.
comment.
Okay.
So we'll have their names there.
This is about the pool.
Oh, I thought that was later on.
Mr. Albro, you can come up and sign that.
Later on, too.
Well, out there.
You can come right here. Just put your address, right? Just put Bales if you want, it's fine. I'll know. Just write Bales. Yeah, that's fine.
Hello. I have had some eye drops put in today, so I hope I'll be able to read my little notes that I have here. Thank you for the opportunity to come in, and it's been a while since I've been at one of these meetings, so it's interesting to sit there. Bales Motor Company has been in operation for over 60 years in downtown Jeffersonville, growing from a small building at 7th and Spring to now what we have, the Auto Mall at 630 Broadway. We've been flooded out many times in our body shop, the buildings and automobiles over the years, that all along from 6th up to 8th Street. Some time ago, we thought that a solution was found. It sounded like that there would be a canal, would be a channel that would take the flooding water on Spring Street and transfer it to a retention pond located on the land between 6th Street, 8th Street, Broadway, and Indiana Avenue. And I think at that time we were going to have a canal that would go through downtown Jeff and empty into the Ohio River. A park was to be added to the development in the areas where the retention pond would be. The plans were changed, and of course there is no canal, and we still haven't completed the water problem. Every time we would ask about the problem, the answer would be that the water problem would be taken care of, and the park was we would still have the park. We have been through through several times. We've thought about several times about relocating our facilities, and our manufacturers has wanted us to get onto Veterans Parkway, but we made the decision to stay where we are at our present location. With this in mind, we have spent about $1 million in this past year in making our facility state-of-the-art, inside and out, something that I think anybody would appreciate if you go up and down the street, what we have done there. We think that the park is will make a beautiful entrance into Jeffersonville. And here again will help solve the water problem when that is all completed, and will be a real asset to the other businesses in southern Indiana. Thank you.
We also have some residents that live on Indiana Avenue, they're here to speak in support of the project as well. I can bring this back there to you.
No, no, no. This is we're doing this backwards. We should have had less added to the plan.
The drainage did that project down there at Bell's and it works.
I think the body shop stuff's on Spring Street, it's not where they're at now. Body shop's on Spring, which it does, it's high water, but it's on Spring.
We did a huge project that was while I was on the
I'm
board.
just going to read their letter for them, so they don't have to get up and walk up here. As a resident of the Falls Landing Drainage Project area, we would like to offer this letter of support for this grant application. Since living in our home at 702 Indiana Avenue, we have experienced numerous flooding events surrounding our home. While our home has never had water inside it, many of our neighbors have. We have had times when we couldn't leave our house due to the surrounding streets being flooded. In 2009, the streets were closed off for an extended period of time before the water receded. The drainage issues in our area also cause major mosquito problems, and we have to call the local health department to spray continuously throughout the warmer months. Due to funding cuts, we have learned that this service may not be offered this year. We are quite concerned about this issue and hope to see the drainage problems resolved soon. We also look forward to having the opportunity to enjoy and utilize the park setting. I am in a wheelchair, and this would be a great enjoyment for us to have sidewalks and be able to enjoy our neighborhood. Again, we are in full support of the City of Jeffersonville applying for this grant and understand that without state funding it would not be possible. We really want to see this project move forward for the betterment of our neighborhood and community. Thank you, Mitchell and Barbara Ayers.
I'm Jorge Lanz with Jacoby Toombs and Lanz Engineers, and we are the engineers for the city, not only on the combined sewer overflow projects, but also on the drainage projects that have been constructed and need to be finished in this area. I made a presentation at the council workshop. I'm prepared to go over that entire presentation again, if that's the wishes of the council. From an engineering and technical standpoint, I'm fully convinced that this retention pond, which has been part of the overall drainage configuration of the area, is necessary. As an engineer, I would like to see the area also being developed. I mean, if we just build a retention pond out there with no other amenities, I mean, how are we going to maintain it? Are we just going to, cut grass and do what for the area? I have consistently warned the mayor's office, the sewer department, the council, that we, being a combined sewer community, there is always going to be that possibility that we may have some cross-contamination occur from the combined sewer overflowing into the storm sewer, which would feed either the ditch that's there now, the pond that we want to go ahead and build, and if that pond is there and then later on we do the canal, it would also affect the canal. So this is just something that, physics and gravity have given us. We have spent millions of dollars in bettering the situation. We continue to move forward. The 10th Street Pump Station is now completed and can pump 50 million gallons a day up to the treatment plant. We are now underway in working with a combined sewer, we call it CSO, combined sewer overflow storage interceptor, that's going to take all of the CSO that we are emitting into the Ohio River, store it, and also run it through the pump station and take it to the treatment plant for treatment. That's going to keep us in compliance with our consent decree. I believe that this is a holistic project that's got many parts. The retention pond is an integral part of the overall project that needs to be completed. And I'll be happy to answer any questions. I have all my maps, I have my presentation, I can put up on the screen whatever the council wishes. We also have Charlie Bryant, the president of the Drainage Board, in here. I know that Councilman Julius had mentioned about what's the Drainage Board feel like it. I don't know, Charlie, would you like to say something to the council?
I don't know that I didn't serve, but right when this project was getting started, but on the drainage board, we was asked to help finance that, and our board turned it down because at that time we had a lot of questions. The further along the year went, or a couple years that this project's been going on, you've heard both sides of this about the mosquitoes, about our biggest problem was the sewage running into this. And if we are using this as part of one of our projects, who was going to take care of it? And who was going to clean the sewage out and haul it away? And that sounds like our board felt like we was going to be the bad guys here and had to clean it out. Now, as far as putting money into it, the board is not very happy about putting money into that project. But what happened was that back when the sewer department was going to back this up and use it, we was going to kind of help support the sewer. Well, when they done away the canal and done away with that and the sewer department backed out of it, why should we as financial be the only one that put it in? And when we was asked for $500,000, we done a study on this before, and then all of a sudden it got added back to our committee on the study that cost us a little over $200,000 and some to do a study. We have enough problems in the city of Jerseyville now will last projects for another 10 years. So we just didn't feel like we should put our money into something like that when we didn't have the complete answer. Now, as far as the drainage part, and I understand that the pond is a big help to it. If it was part of the other projects, that's fine. But at this time, when you're getting money, a grant, and I understand the grant is up sometime this month, and I understand that there's another group of people that's going to take that over. And as far as us voting against it, I think that's more up to the council if they want to be in that project, but we got plenty of projects to do, and I'm not going to say either way that my board will not vote it or vote against it, is what I'm saying. But most of the people knows that we have problems with A Street, and you've heard that problem, and it's the lowest part in Jerseyville, and we got a lot of sewer that runs into it when it floods. So, any questions?
I have one, Charlie.
Yes.
I wasn't at the Wednesday meeting, but it was brought to my attention that this was approved in our stormwater master plan, that this is a project, we approved it. Can you clarify for this council that the list of projects that are in that master plan wasn't approved? They're suggested projects. We can pick and choose.
Right.
The drainage board picks and choose. There's also a cutoff for Lancasank that probably never be done. Can you please clarify that for the council?
Yeah,
as far as the projects that are in that stormwater master plan.
We got, Woodland is one of our biggest problems right now. To explain to you a little bit about it, is that the tile is washing away. And we have dump trucks, we have garbage trucks, we have school buses. That project has got to be a number one on our part of trying to get it fixed because of the liability. If a bus or a dump truck or something drops into that stream, we could have problems. Fire trucks too. I mean, it's just not a good idea of what we're doing there. We need to work that project out. And we have had studied that, and we're still studying it, of trying to figure out the problem there.
Charlie, I wanted you to clarify that just because a project is in the stormwater master plan does not mean that project is going to be done.
We voted to put that project on closer to the bottom because we got other projects that's more serious. And I'm talking about really serious. When you got sinkholes and the tiles is there, we went and looked at a job today, and I don't know what the price is going to cost there to get that. We get Jorge on the ball, get him to help us.
So, the question is that if this project is paid for by redevelopment and this grant 100%, would the Drainage Board be in support of it or not? Is our question, I guess, as far as that goes. There would be no funding from the Drainage Board. It's already on your project list, so that would just make your list one thing shorter that you wouldn't have to pay for, right?
Right.
Okay. Okay.
Let me just reiterate, and I know you guys have heard the technical side forever, but when we built the 7th and Ohio drainage project that helped Mr. Albro, and that's when we put the drainage alongside of his parking lot. That project, and we put the bioswale around the perimeter. All his building and all his parking lot being an impervious area was just, I mean, we were out there, and I know Mike and I were out there one time, where you could just see a river flowing down towards 8th Street, and it would flow to 7th and Ohio there, and it would completely flood a couple of the residents, one of them that lives on the corner. And when we built all these systems and designed them and built them, it's been a tremendous improvement. Actually, I've got a compliment from one of our local residents, which I never thought I would get anything like that, but the pond was an integral part of this project, and the only reason why it wasn't built by the contractor was because the city was building it in-house. I mean, nobody can deny that. Those are the facts. The previous mayor was building that project with the city forces in an effort to save money on the project, because we had gotten a $110,000 federal grant that was left over from another environmental project that we had. And then sewer put in a portion and drainage put in a portion of that project. But the project was not completed because during the construction of the pond, the consultants that were advising the mayor at the time said, we've got a grant, maybe the same grant that can be gotten to finish this area off and finish that pond off so that we don't have to build it using city funds. And the mayor had to vacate the property and vacate all the equipment, or IOCRA wouldn't fund it. It's the same, I mean, nothing of that has changed. It's in every record you may find. So I'll be happy to answer any more technical questions that I'm here. So thank you very much.
Jorge, I have a question.
It's Jorge.
It's Jorge.
He calls me Charlie.
I know we've had this question before, but I probably should have asked you this Wednesday when we had the maps and stuff up, and I forgot. How much of the water, how much of the water that floods that area, and I know we've had a kind of a dry year last year, and so we might not know the full effect, but I know we're still going to have flooding problems even with the pond down there. What areas will this pond help, and what areas will this pond not help? That's what I'm trying to get to.
Well, the main purpose of the pond is to act as a muffler, if you will. All of our water, all of our stormwater, all of our combined sewage that isn't pumped to the wastewater treatment plant has got to go out to 96-inch cane run outfall. And you guys have heard my litany about lowering the pumping range of the cane run pump station. I mean, just common sense will tell you that if that pipe is full, it won't carry any water. So what we're trying to do is to keep it half empty at least, so that we've always got a potential conduit to drain Jeffersonville. It's just a matter of cleaning the hair clog from your bathtub. So this pond would not only help the 7th and Ohio watershed, but it'll also help the 8th Street storm sewer that we separated from all that area. It'll also help the intersection of 10th and Spring, because that's going to be the first water that goes out to 96. It's going to be from the intersection of 10th and Spring, going west towards Clarksville and towards the 96-inch pipe. We're going to hold our water back, and then once that pipe regains its capacity, And, hydraulics in these lines, Guy, it works like a traffic jam, and I know we've all been in one, it's like a wave. You get into a traffic jam, and then it just goes way up, and then it goes way down. That's exactly how the capacity of this pipe will work, and I don't know what you want me to show here.
This is
No,
the
it's-
project service area. This is the area that we use in our income survey. The
Okay.
people they're the project beneficiaries, basically, that would benefit from this project, that area inside the blue.
Oh, there you go.
Because I'm not mistaken. So this rectangle, the retention pond has been portrayed here as a rectangle, I guess. One of my guys who I will talk with tomorrow. But,
Looks like a swimming
of
pool.
course, we all know where the 10th Street pump station, just north there at the intersection of Spring and 10th. And then that 96-inch pipe goes due west underneath that loop there on the interstate, and it goes across the parking lot and, straight through to Cane Run. And we're trying to fine tune, if you will, how we route, it's called routing, how we route all this stormwater runoff. That's all we're trying to do. So the area of the pond right here, what we're going to do is all these storm sewers that flow from in here from 8th Street and from the south from 7th and Ohio, we're going to take that and just hold it back in that pond. And if we can just hold it back 15 minutes, it makes a heck of a difference on the capacity of the 96 that's going out. We've done hydraulic analysis after hydraulic modeling on this thing. We're now redoing the hydraulic modeling as part of the combined sewer interceptor. I mean, I'm fully convinced that this can't hurt. The problem with the potential contamination, that'll always exist. I think that as we proceed with all these other projects that I mentioned, the 50 million gallon a day capacity of the 10th Street pump station and the installation of the combined sewer interceptor, all these things, I mean, that's why it's a one big holistic project. All these things just keep chipping away at the problem. We get another rainfall like we did April of 2009, that's why I keep saying, all bets are off then. I mean, that kind of 4.5 inches of rain in half an hour, nobody can stand that. Did I answer your question?
Thank you.
Melissa's going to answer any grant questions that you might have.
I'm Melissa Woods with River Hills, and just to give you a little bit of background on the grant application itself, this has been in the works for a couple of years now, maybe a little over, and it is through the Indiana Office of Community and Rural Affairs. It's disaster recovery number 2 money, the money that came in because of the 2008 flooding that occurred. You're really not in competition with anyone for these funds. They haven't committed in a letter or anything like that, but we've been in full communication about the project, and they're very aware of what's about to come in as far as an application goes. The income survey resulted in one of the highest percentages of low to moderate income I've ever seen. 85.63% of the people living within that area are considered low to moderate income people. That scores you very high in that part of they will score the application, and that gives you a very high score on that. It is a $500,000 grant that you're applying for, and of course the local match is $698,840, and that was committed previously by the redevelopment board. The deadline is this Friday. If you support it, it'll be going in on Thursday, and we should hear fairly quickly about whether or not it's funded. I can't really think of anything else unless you have questions for me.
Okay. All right.
Thank you.
Excuse me.
Well, if I may, we, danced this dance before and come before this board, and this board unanimously approved getting this $500,000 grant. A lot of the steps that we're doing here tonight have been steps that we've already gone through. The previous administration went through this. Everything was moving forward. I've got established businesses that have been in place for over 60 years that are saying, address the flooding issues. They've considered moving to a different location. They've decided to stay in Jeffersonville. I appreciate that, Mr. Albro and all the employees. I appreciate the confidence they have in the city of Jeffersonville. My job as mayor is to get the most informed, expert advice I can get. We have on board for this project the city engineer who was hired by the previous mayor. We have the engineering company who's dealt with the city of Jeffersonville's engineering needs for probably better than 30 years. We've got a wastewater director that's been in place here for several years. We've got the state, who the city applied for this same grant previously under the other administration. All of these pieces to the puzzle are still here. This drainage solution was in place. The Drainage Board did think this project merited attention. It put it in its master plan. It is in your master plan.
It is in the master plan, but we
It is
can't
in the
finish
master plan because it needs attention. I don't hear anybody saying downtown doesn't have a flooding problem. In fact, the first district councilman is here, and I would bet you could have a whole bunch of the residents that are probably going to say, when is the city going to fix the flooding problems down here? We're never going to fix everything. But when somebody offers you $500,000 to fix a problem, take it. The experts are all over here with us. I need the city council to join me and agree with the experts. Please. You know, if the experts are over here, I don't need a vote where the council thinks they knows better than the engineers. The experts were brought here to present a case to you. They've done it. It's up here. The Drainage Board approved it. The Redevelopment Board approved it. The state has approved it. The city engineer has approved it. By golly, this fixes the flooding for a whole lot of people and a whole lot of businesses in downtown Jeff. And the entrance into the city of Jeff at 10th and Spring is very attractive to restaurants and hotels now, because we're going to fix this flooding problem. If we do not fix this flooding problem, companies are not going to come in here and pour money into the entrance to the city of Jeffersonville. What you have there now is an eyesore. It needs attention. The residents who all live around there and the businesses that are around there are extremely excited about this. Please, I need your vote here. Thank you.
We want to ask how much is for the park and how much is for the pond.
I've got a question. Jorge, you might be able to answer. I don't know, Mike, you can. What's the amount for the park and what's the amount for the pond?
Well, I don't have it broken out like that.
It won't cure flooding problems downtown.
No, it's not.
I've got the numbers right here.
Well, it's
Well-
right beyond the little.
It'll only hold
Here's-
$2.8 million gallons of water.
It's,
A 1-inch rainfall is
That actually gives
11.5
a
million
more
gallons of
detailed
water in
breakdown
that. Now,
than
you're going to have some in the grass and stuff. It won't cure it.
I can't hardly see that. You might have to help us with that.
They're way off base. He was way off base.
Yeah, that's better.
I thought it was 3.
I can speak for you.
Oh, okay.
So,
Jorge, how much would it cost for the pond?
okay, well, if you look at this list under the IOCR grant there, and then you look at the
can't read
fourth
that.
line down, common excavation, 28,500 cubic yards, 200 at unit price installed $10, extension $285. Under the IOCR grant, that $285,000 is covered by the grant. Relocate outlet structure, same thing, it's got to do with the pond, $16,000. Relocate storm sewer, $2,500. HMA surface, that's paving, intermediate is paving, base is paving, compacted aggregate, curb ramps, and sidewalk, and finished grading. So if you take the 285 and the 16 and the 2,500, so that's what, 310, 315, about $350,000 of the $500,000 is directly related to the pond.
And the rest of it's for the park?
Well, the rest of it, it's got, there's curb ramps, $15,000, and there's sidewalk, $83,850. So about $100,000 of that $500,000 wouldn't be directly related to the drainage, to the retention basin. It's more related to sidewalks and ramps.
And then we had to match it with $700,000?
Then you've matched it with $698,840. That's correct. And one of the things that, you know, in working with Melissa and River Hills, these grant applications don't allow you to have a contingency factor. You know, we're doing these estimates. I mean, luckily in this pond, we've got a lot of the design done. But a lot of these grants that we go after, they're pre-design estimates. And, you know, some of you that are in the business, you know how that goes. You got to have a contingency factor. Well, we got to, instead of having a line down here that says contingency, we put that back into the prices so that the total cost of the project shows the contingency in it. Okay?
Any other questions? Any other questions? Ed, any other questions?
Nope.
Okay, so do we move on?
There's no motion.
There's no motion.
I'll make a comment
Okay.
before just sitting here. I fully support the pond. The drainage aspect of it, I think it's appropriate. I think redevelopment and TIF dollars should be used to attract economic development, to try to bring in new jobs, not for beautification projects.
A lot of new businesses, I mean, don't want to come if it's not attractive, though, and I think that's our whole goal, is to make it more attractive, because it is our gateway, so.
And I think, and I know we've used redevelopment dollars for a number of beautification projects, but I haven't seen projects that are going to bring jobs. And rather than spending almost $700,000 of redevelopment dollars, I mean, I'm glad we have it, for a park, I'd rather spend $300,000 and have the pond, and that resolves the problem, and then we can begin to address the park if development begins to look our way.
Well, I'm pretty sure that the Drainage Board says that they're not going to support this project as far, it's on the bottom of their list, so it's probably not going to happen, because they said they have 10 years worth of projects. So we want to let you know that redevelopment will not pay for any portion of just the drainage. It won't come from redevelopment. So it's just going to look like it does right now.
The city previously, under the other administration, was going to spend $1 million on a sign and an entrance into the city. Instead, we're going to convert that 4.8 acres and put some businesses there that's going to generate some tax revenue. They're not going to build there if they're looking at what they've got to look at right now. And if this does not get approved tonight, you all are turning down $500,000.
Lynn, I guess my question is, you say why does it have to look the way it does now? It's it's the city property. I don't understand why it can't be smoothed out where you can bush hog it. I went down there the other day and took measurements and took pictures of what's down there. That's our property.
Right.
We've done nothing with that. There's stagnant water sitting there right now. You are correct. But
if you don't fix it and put a retention pond there, it will continue to flood. Nobody is going to build a foundation on an area that floods. That's why this makes sense. You go to the lowest point in the city, you put a retention pond, you make it look pretty, and guess what? All around it, you start getting development. Why do you think the Ohio River is such a valuable entity? It's pretty to look at, and it handles the water problems. Same thing with this. If you don't fix this and make it look nice, you're always going to have an area that floods, and you're not going to put businesses and foundations and homes on that property.
Well, I understand that, Mike, but I'm talking about up at grade, when you come off the old Frank's parking lot in that area down there, because that pipe roughly I measured, it's roughly 20 feet to the bottom of that pipe to grade. Now but I'm saying, why can't we as a city of redevelopment since it's their property, smooth that out a little bit where it can at least be bush hogged to make it look better. I mean, I'm talking about the weeds and
The
stuff.
reason we haven't touched it is because Okra would not allow us to move any dirt until we made a decision on what was going to happen with the grant. We couldn't
Okay.
touch it, right?
Once there's an
Okay.
intent to apply.
Okay, that's why I was wondering.
Right.
Okay.
Right, and the reason for the economic, you want to tell them about the economic development
Well,
portion?
the disaster recovery funds that this is coming from is a flexible fund. You're not really competing like you normally would statewide for these flexible funds, and the reason it can come from flexible funds is because it's got the drainage and the park element in it. So if you took the park element out of it, you wouldn't be getting these funds, or applying for, I should say. You haven't gotten them yet, but, so that's why it makes it a special project, and it can come out of that flexible fund. And I should say also, we had a conversation with the director of Okra a week or two ago, and the deadline is Friday, like I mentioned before, and if it doesn't go in by then, it's over. The city, there's no entertaining by Okra that they're going to prolong this effort.
Okay.
So, thank you.
Thank you. I don't have any more questions. I don't either.
No more
I'm done.
questions?
Yep.
Okay. All right, I guess we're moving on then. Mr. Merkley? That should have come first. Well, I know, you're on the agenda, so do we table?
You want to table, Les?
These are the two resolutions that are for purposes of amending both the Falls Landing and Intercity Road Economic Development Plans to include the Falls Landing Park, Ninth Street Park, however we want to call it. I went through and specifically went to great lengths to only include that project for purposes of the amending the plan.
2 or 3 years.
Can I ask you a question?
Yes,
Is this property owned by redevelopment, or is it just owned by the city?
owned by redevelopment.
It's owned by redevelopment, then why would they not want to go ahead and put the money in to develop to stop the flooding? And instead of just doing, well, you're the attorney, so that's why I'm asking you. Which would cost around $350,000 to $400,000 rather than the 1.3, which would solve the flooding project. I don't understand why they would not do that. Well, it would not solve it, but it would help some of those area homes, not a lot, but it would help some of them. I don't understand, since it's owned by redevelopment, why they would not go ahead and spend that money, since
I'm
they
sure,
have
I'm
it.
sure the administration and the redevelopment will be looking and exploring all options to ensure that the homes and the businesses are no longer flooded. With or without a grant, the administration is committed to solving the drainage and flooding problems in downtown.
No action.
No action, okay. All right, thank you, Les. Okay, number 4, you want to do the, Mr. Lewis, do you have those?
I was going to kind of set this, is it time
Okay.
for mine?
Yes.
A couple weeks ago, we had a joint meeting with, I guess, a member of the redevelopment commission and the mayor and city council to go over, I believe there was 20 projects that were listed as a part of the redevelopment master plan. And we were asked to approve those, to address those, and wanted to, there was 5 of the projects on there that I'd like to, for us to try to move forward with as soon as possible and make sure there's no
To make sure they're on the
legal
plan.
issues that make sure they're on the plan. And so we have a resolution number?
Yeah, I wanted him to pass out the resolution so we
It
could see
actually
it.
has let me identify the plans, or the
Well,
projects.
technically, there'd be 2 resolutions, because what you're doing real quick.
Okay.
Because these projects would potentially receive TIF money for both the Falls Landing redevelopment plan area and also the Intercity Road Economic Development Plan area. So procedurally, what we would be doing, there's two resolutions, one amending the Falls Landing Development Plan area and then one amending the Intercity Road Economic Development Plan. So it's technically two resolutions, and there's a list of the 5 projects which you asked me to put in there. So we're just talking 5 projects.
I'm going to read the projects so the folks here understand what we're talking about. The 5 projects that we're looking at trying to move forward is the Big 4 ramp, the Big 4 station, the flood wall opening related to the Big 4 down there, Chestnut Street reconstruction, and the Thompson Lane project. So those are the 5 projects that we want to be supportive of and try to move forward.
Just for the record, we went up to Seymour and spoke to NDOT a little bit, and the, I think obviously we all support the flood wall opening project. I think it's about a $600,000 price tag. If, with the money set aside for the ramp, if that falls below that cost, this will be picked up by NDOT. If for some reason it goes outside of that, then NDOT will not pick that up. But I think obviously it's a big part of the project and we support the project, but until the light bidding comes in and all the other bids come in, we don't know really what the total price of that project will be. So there's a possibility we may not have to fund this $600,000, a redevelopment or whomever.
Somebody's got does it say Falls Landing at the top?
There should be 2 resolutions.
Somebody's holding on to it.
Oh, here, I'm sorry.
One should say Falls Landing, one should say...
Yeah, we got them now.
There we go.
We got them. It was my fault. I didn't see them.
I would also, before Scott, you may have to guide us through this, but I would just make the comment, the perception is that we don't support any of the mayor's projects or the administration, and that's not true. I base my decisions on what I think is appropriate and the dollars that we have to spend, and address it that way. And that's why I wanted to try to get this on the agenda, to go ahead and say, here's 5, let's just move forward with, and kind of lock arm in arm and get this done. So
Yeah, and procedurally, just I think what Nathan's getting at, because I think originally the 4 projects, we talked about having another workshop meeting to talk more specifically about those. So if the pleasure of the board is to go forward with these 5, that doesn't mean you're saying no to the other 15. I mean, you can always come back to address that in another resolution to add any of those other projects. So
Scott, what order, does it matter on these?
It really doesn't matter. We'll just have to assign a resolution number.
Vicki, the Falls Landing I'll do first.
Falls Landing,
Is
be
what?
resolution number 5.
Okay. I'd make a motion to approve 2013 R5.
Second.
Have a motion and a second to approve resolution number 5. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries.
I'll make a motion to approve 2013 R6, which is Intercity Road.
Second.
Have a motion and a second to approve resolution number 6, which is the Intercity Road. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries.
I think real quick, Les wants to make a comment now about procedurally where we go from here, like us approving the not.
I didn't get another.
Next step is the development official action.
I should say the same exact same thing.
Adopt the resolution, after public hearing, confirming the action.
You can compare.
Special meeting in April, or select on the second or regular meeting last. We wouldn't do it in a month, so that would be a public hearing, redevelopment, take the next step, and hopefully final step, amending the plan to reflect this project.
Les, I think some of these projects, I mean, like the ramp and the park, I think we've already had public meetings on that.
Well, to amend the plan,
Okay.
Statutory procedure rather than special.
Except for the Thompson Lane, I know we've had meetings. Oh, okay, I guess.
This is a special notice of advertising.
Okay.
with the redevelopment
Beyond that, if the participants don't agree with the plan, they have, other than a public meeting, do they have a way to remonstrate or anything? Or is it just come up, is it just a notification of what, a plan change, or is there action that they can take? I'm not sure the procedure for that.
Yeah, they can always litigation. Yeah, there is.
Is it in statute? I know there's always litigation. Is it in statute there is remonstrance?
Yes.
That's
But I
the
don't,
purpose of this.
yeah, but I don't know what the timeframe is after the public hearing for someone to take that.
That was going to be my next, so is it, how long?
It's a timeframe.
Yeah, and if they don't respond, to a certain time period, they waive their right.
Okay. All right, thank you.
Okay, is there any public comment?
No.
Anybody sign in
Well, I think these are the people that spoke
earlier? Okay. Council comment, Councilperson Smith?
No, I want to touch just briefly about the pond. They keep using the term about this pond is going to prevent the flooding downtown. That's not true. They act like if we put in this $300,000 or $400,000 pond, that the flooding has been resolved, and that's not the case. I was down there today. I took measurements and I took pictures of this project. There's water today standing with absolutely no movement. There will be water even with the pond itself. There will be water that will stand there. There is no movement of the water. I want to point out two things. We keep talking about the canal. This goes along with the canal. Okay, let's talk about it. The canal, the mouth or the start of the canal was going to be at this pond. There's no question about it. However, that was going to be fed and water was going to move from that pond down through the canal to the river. Water was going to move, and I may be wrong on this. I don't remember the exact gallons, but within a 48-hour period, that amount of water would be turned over. So in other words, when the new water was coming in, the old water was going out, and that was the big concern. Unlike this pond, when it fills up, it goes to Clarksville. Two different directions, two different projects. Number two is, let's talk about mosquitoes. Under the canal proposal, that pond and canal was going to be fed with effluent water from the treatment plant. So every 48 hours, and I don't know if that's the exact number, but every so often, the water was going to be turned over. In this pond down here that we have today, there is no turnover of water. And that water will sit stagnant. Now, you can go down there today, I did, and took pictures. We have green water standing there. We've had mosquitoes in the past, and this was going to be a problem. And my question was, why is the city not responsible, and I think I've got an answer, but why is the city not responsible for at least taking a piece of equipment and smoothing that out enough where they can take a tractor or a bush hog to mow it to make it look nice? I mean, up to last year, there was weeds. Myself and Councilperson Sellers took pictures. I couldn't even get to the ditch, and the weeds were 6, 7 feet tall. I mean, it wasn't weeds. They was big plant things. So we're trying to compare apples and apples, and believe me, they're not apples and apples. This is my district, and I understand the flooding, and I want to resolve the flooding. But we're not talking apples and apples, and we compare what's going to stop the flooding, and we're comparing it to the canal. Two different projects, two different water directions. It's just totally two different projects. And I just wanted to kind of point that out.
I'm sorry, Councilperson Gill.
I just wanted to add to Mike Smith, because I'm sure the public can see that the mayor and I disagree on what I remember approving in Orhei, which I approved when I was drainage board. Bottom line is, I'm very passionate about drainage, and I'm very passionate about, he says about experts, but I talked to EPA, I talked to IDEM and DNR. I've got a wonderful working relationship with every one of them. Bottom line, my name will not be a part of anything that violates the Clean Water Act. That's just plain and simple, so I did not support that project, and I'm not going to put the city subject to fines, because the EPA already said they would be the ones that would take action on that pond, so that's why I did not support that pond, just so the public knows. It has nothing to do against the mayor.
Councilperson Julius.
The only thing I want to say, and I think this has been the topic tonight, is I don't think anybody here has a problem with the pond. I think we have a problem with a park in that area. I'm kind of like Mike and Lisa in that I don't think this is the end all of our flooding. Absolutely not. But the other problem that I have is when we own $13 million worth of property that we purchased to create a solution to our flooding problem, and we took those properties off our tax rolls, and we had a vision and we had a plan of how we were going to fix that and how we were going to generate more tax dollars and more revenue and create more economic development. And now all of a sudden, I understand a new mayor, a new vision, but we need a vision and we need a plan. And it is not just one piece. And I think we all need to figure out what that plan is, and we need to buy into it. And until that happens, I think there's going to be a lot of non-resolution. So, and I own building downtown. I'd love to see the flooding stop.
Councilperson Samuel?
Connie, you're going to mention the tax caps?
No, go ahead.
No. We received word, and Amy, you didn't address it tonight, but we received word that we hit our tax caps of $3.5 million. We knew they were coming. We were kind of projecting that as a close figure. So I would just ask Amy and I guess also Les as the mayor's counsel. We're looking to the administration to tell us where you want that $3.5 million to come from, where you want it to be cut. Ultimately, as in last year, it's our responsibility to finally approve the cuts and make them, and we will. But we'd rather have the administration to say this is where we'd like it to be cut. 3.2? Okay, thank you. 3.2.
That's a little better.
And
She already cut.
good.
Thanks,
I like that. And I don't know how quickly that can. We got a meeting in a couple weeks. If it can have a draft or something before then, that'd be very helpful, because we're going through the year and we need to know what our true budget will be. So, thank you.
Amy's not going to give you bad news. That's her. Good job, Amy.
Yeah. I need to set up a meeting. We had a meeting with redevelopment, and we need to have another one to go over those projects. We cannot have it this week. Scott's going to be out of town on Wednesday. I called Brian. I did not realize that Zach and Matt would not be here this evening. Brian said he could meet Tuesday or Thursday of next week. I don't know if redevelopment would be able to meet those days. You know, if they want to come, but to go over the remaining projects and what we want to do. So anyway, pick a date. Okay. Does anybody have a date, Tuesday or Thursday of next week? I'm looking at Mike and...
Tuesday's good for me.
Let me see, I've got
Tuesday's
something on the
wide
9th.
open.
Oh, we've got a meeting Tuesday.
Oh, you do?
I was unlikely I can make either one, but
You can't?
Oh,
Oh,
okay,
well,
well,
we
then,
want to have it when
yeah,
you're
we
there.
want to have it when you're there, so,
I was on vacation last week. I'll be traveling next week, so
it'll be the following week.
unless we do it Monday.
oh, we could, it's open.
Monday's fine with me.
I can't do it Monday, I've got county council.
Oh, that's right. Could we, no, that's a council meeting.
Can you bump the county?
Yeah.
No, how that works out.
Situation's more dire than yours.
Okay.
We can't do it on the Wednesday. Can we do it the next week?
Well, we have a council meeting the 15th.
Then we have a council meeting the 15th?
You want it before?
No, it wouldn't, no.
What about that Wednesday?
The 17th?
17th. Can you do it on a Wednesday, Ed?
I'm looking 17.
Or Wednesday's best for you?
I can do any.
About a Wednesday or Thursday, or?
The 17th.
Yeah,
You
I
can.
can make it.
The 17th?
I'll make it.
What time you want to do it?
Let's start early. Let's start at 6.
Send an email out to Brian, Zach, and
Yeah. Did you get that? Scott, can you get the 17th?
No, I mean, what's it about?
Mm-hmm.
Which room do you want to?
What are we?
Mayor's conference room, redevelopment, going over all those projects, the rest of them,
Again.
at 6 o'clock.
That's April 17th,
Yes.
6 PM.
What I can do is, if I remember tomorrow, no, I'll make myself a note, that to go in on my calendar, my office calendar, and email you all like an invitation, and that way I can include Matt, Zach, and all them on.
Okay.
And if for some reason the mayor's conference room is taken that day, we'll just have it here.
Yeah,
We'll have
here.
to check and see if it's available. If
Right.
it's not, we'll just have it here.
Is that a bad night?
No, I think that should be okay.
Okay. And then we also, Amy, I guess whenever we get, start getting stuff together, we need to have a finance committee meeting regarding, and since Matt's not here, I guess we'll just have to email and then get with Scott to get it advertised.
It's realistic to have the proposal by the next meeting now.
No.
Because our reconciling is behind, we're going to have current expenditures probably for 2 more weeks. Maybe by the first meeting in May.
Okay. So we'll just get together and then we'll have Scott advertise whenever we decide to have that meeting, as long as we've got plenty of time.
Yeah, 48 hours, notice, excluding weekends or all.
Okay.
Amy, I would just recommend that you, at the department head meetings, you make them well aware that we got to cut 3.2 and try to put things on hold until we know.
6.4, that's general funds. It's a pretty big chunk out of sanitation.
You're right, 475.
That's a big chunk.
That's
for
a
them.
huge chunk out. I don't know where we take it from.
Then we got parks, we have an additional 350,
Yeah,
additional of what we just cut.
yeah. Yeah, okay. Any other comments? Motion to adjourn?
Motion to
Second.